round.
SVG coming into this one at 1-1. The Virgin Islands at 1-0. So if the Virgin Islands, as we talked about at the start of this tournament, is going to solidify themselves as one of the favorites, this will be a good test for them.
Virgin Islands have a mixture of both young players and experienced players, but it all starts with the backcourt. Cuthbert Victor, he's a handful down in that lane, can play inside and outside. Also look for Kevin Shepard, who's one of the leaders on that team. I think he's also the captain for this SVG team. It's all about Foyle. He's having a wonderful tournament right now, leading his team in scoring at 24 points per game. This should be a good one.
Let's take a look at the starting lineups for Virgin Islands. Angel Rivera, Cuthbert Victor, Craig Williams Jr., Ivan Aska, and Khalid Hart. For St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Naika Williams, Sean Baptiste, Sean King, Alexis Foyle, and Damian Otley. Sean King has had himself some pretty good moments in this tournament already as well. Our officials, Ricardo Hales from Jamaica, Jose Baroa from the Dominican Republic, and Nathaniel Charles from Trinidad and Tobago. Ball's in the air, and we are underway. Tip controlled by Baptiste of SVG. Out on the left wing. That's Otley. Three misses badly. And here comes Virgin Islands. Aska. Reverse layup, scoop style, won't go. And Baptiste calls the play. Guarded by Rivera. Now a long two is no good by Otley. Now Khalid Hart for three. That's no good. Rebound Foyle. Foyle to King. Now to Baptiste along the baseline. And a foul called. And going to get Rivera for his first.
Rivera, who really made a name for himself last year in this same tournament. That was his breakout year. He showed the fans what he can do from that point guard spot. He's starting this year.
Now the long pass out to Baptiste, and he steps on the center line, and that's an over and back violation. How many of these guys on the current Virgin Islands roster did you play with?
I would probably say about half the team. Craig Williams came on the team in my later years. I played many years with Cuthbert Victor and Kevin Shepard. Kitwana Reimer is about the same age as me, so he played with me when I started. So I knew a lot of the players.
So are these guys giving you kind of a dirty look as to, hey, man, why aren't you playing?
I told them I wanted the players to remember me when I was good and when I could play.
Now a long three is no good by Foyle. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the home team in this game, wearing their white uniforms. Virgin Islands, the visitors, in their navy blue. It's more of a royal than a navy. Now the baseline jumper, no good. Victor fighting for the rebound in there. Taken out by Williams. No score yet. 8:10 to play, first quarter. Now the pass underneath to King. He can't handle it. It's out of bounds to Virgin Islands.
Both teams still trying to get in some kind of rhythm offensively, as we still have a goose egg on the board.
Don't forget, you can connect with us on Facebook at Caribbean Basketball Confederation as a foul is called. Go to Facebook and go to the Caribbean Basketball Confederation page. Give us a like, and you can get all the up-to-date information. We are at 999 likes. Who is going to be our 1,000th like? If you're watching online, open up a new browser tab. open up Facebook and go to the Caribbean Basketball Confederation and click like. You can be the 1,000th like. It won't get you anything besides our undying gratitude, but that's got to be worth something. And now a travel. The Virgin Islands leading 2-0. SVG yet to score. You can also connect with us on Twitter. We are at Caribe Basket, CARIBE-BASKET. 3 is good by Ivan Aska.
Ivan Aska, very good play. And he actually was in a couple NBA camps for the start of the season.
Now a 3 at the other end, no good. Rebound by Naika Taylor, but he gets fouled on the way back up. To finish our thought on Twitter, you can tweet at us at Caribe Basket, BASKET, if you've got a question for the former Virgin Islands men's national team player, Cal White, or myself. We'll do our best to answer it. If you just want to show your team some support, give them a shout out on Twitter. Maybe we will read it on the air. Williams hits the first free throw, and SVG has its first point at the 7:13 mark. Now long jumper on the way. And they've got the scoreboard messed up. It should be 5-1. It reads 6-0.
Beautiful pass by Foyle as he found the cutting Williams down the middle of the lane for the dunk.
Should be 5-3. Now they got the scoreboard right. Wow, a pretty scoop move. Wouldn't go. Reverse change of the hands, and now the jump hook is good by Alexis Foyle.
Khalid hot with the drive on the baseline. Hard to play out of Maris. Very strong guard.
Now a 3 from Otley, no good. Baptiste, he might have gotten a little flop there, but a nice finish.
Angel Rivera plays with a lot of confidence. As I said, this kid had a hell of a tournament last year. It's back to show what he can do again this year.
9-5 in favor of Virgin Islands. Otley on the drive, gets cut off along the baseline, foul called. Ryan Casada at Cougar Casada says, can I get a shout out to the Brian Ofori fan club in Canada? Brian Ofori, the guard for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Well, there you go. The Brian Ofori fan club. Not sure if that's a registered charitable organization or how many members are in it, but there's at least one. Still 9-5 in favor of the Virgin Islands. 5:21 to play first quarter. And we are at exactly 1,000 on Facebook. Let's see who the 1,000th person was. David Jackson. Our 1,000th like on Facebook. I believe he's in St. Louis in the U.S.
And you got to get out on Craig Williams because he can do that all game. He's one of those big guys that's a tough matchup. Loves to step outside beyond the three-point line and shoot the three. And he can do it with consistency.
The guys ping-ponged around. Basket counts. The foul is on Sean King, and going to the free throw line will be Khalid Hart when we come back. 14-5, Penn free throw in favor of the Virgin Islands. Back at the Multi-Purpose Sports Complex in Roadtown on Tortola. I'm glad you can be tuned in wherever you're watching and or listening from around the Caribbean or around the world. This is our third game of the day. In our first two, Bermuda beat Guyana 74-65. Bermuda moves to 1-1. Guyana falls to 0-3. Game two concluding just about an hour ago was the Bahamas over Suriname, 72-57. Bahamas now 3-0, Suriname 0-2. Our nightcap tonight at 9 o'clock or thereabouts, it's going to be Barbados at 0-1 taking on the British Virgin Islands at 2-0.
You're going to see this Virgin Islands team playing a lot of defense, as Coach Mitchell has preached defense from the start of training camp. Usually when you come to these kind of tournaments, you see a lot of people want to take pictures with the players. I saw a lot of people want to take pictures with the coach from the Virgin Islands, with Coach Mitchell, former coach of the year from the NBA. Coach Mitchell now with the Timberwolves organization. Virgin Islands went out and brought in a quality coach to help them win this goal.
Jumper rings out. Here comes the Virgin Islands back to play. Now feet in the paint to Williams, and a little jump hook with the right hand. And it's 16-5. And Williams has been a ton already. Now Baptiste for a long three. No good. Rebound back tapped. Taken by Jackson. Now Williams the rebound. Virgin Islands running. 3-on-2. And Hart. Aska was going to cut. He did not. And the ball sails out of bounds. Now Aska will sit down.
One thing you got to do with this Virgin Islands team is you got to get back on defense, as they have about probably all 5 players on the court right now that can handle the ball and push it on the fast break.
(18-5) now. Williams with 3 of his team's last 4 baskets. Now a pretty spin move by Naika Williams. And now Hart hits for 3.
He's going to be a very good player. Played for Marist. There's already NBA scouts looking at him. Tough matchup.
Seven to shoot. Ball tipped into the backcourt. 3 to shoot. And now Baptiste does not get the shot off. That's a good call. 2 of the 3 officials had it, and that was the right call to make. He did not get that shot off in time.
There goes that defense Coach Mitchell was talking about, which is surprising because when you have an NBA coach, there's no defense played in the NBA. There's a lot of one-on-one offense. It's surprising to see an NBA coach preaching defense.
Craig Williams handing it to your old teammate Kevin Shepard, and the foul called. Still 21-7. Foul on Brian Ofori. Sure, the Brian Ofori fan club doesn't hear that.
Kevin Shepard, the captain of this team, the veteran player. He's a legend over there in Israel. They made a documentary of him. Forgot the name of the documentary. Very good point guard, very good leadership.
Both free throws good. Foyle looking for anything. Now a jump shot in the corner, airballed by Ofori. Shepard trying to shake Baptiste. Now shoots the long 2, and that's good.
Virgin Island team looking very good in the early parts of this game as they've now gotten into a flow and got their offense clicking on all cylinders.
Baptiste on the left wing. Jackson trapped along the sideline. Now Ofori could not get a shot off as the shot clock expires. And with 37.2 seconds left in the first quarter, it's Virgin Islands 25, St. Vincent and the Grenadines 7.
SVG shooting a woeful 18% from the field.
That is not going to get it done.
Part of it is defense, part of it is just bad shooting. Virgin Islands on a 20-2 run in the last 6 minutes.
Now Hart for 3.
Make it 23-2. This BI team trying to set a statement earlier, let the rest of the field know that they're coming here to win gold.
Shot clock is off, game clock at 8. Now Ofori gives, and Virgin Islands will have a breakaway and an easy layup for Shepard as fires. And after one period of play, it's the Virgin Islands 30 and SVG 7. We're back in 2 minutes from the Multipurpose Sports Complex in Roadtown. Huge first quarter for the Virgin Islands as they lead St. Vincent and the Grenadines 30-7.
And again, they're doing it from the defensive end as they're using the defense to create easy buckets.
Khalid Hart with 10 already. Craig Williams Jr. with 9. Victor has 5 rebounds already for the Virgin Islands. Naika Williams has 5 for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As you mentioned, Virgin Islands went on a 25-5 run to close out the quarter.
VI scoring 13 points.
I'm sorry, a 25-2 run. It was tied at 5-5.
VI scoring 13 points off of 8 turnovers from this SVG team. They're going to have to do a better job taking care of the ball if they want to get back into this game.
Shepard attacking his defender, giving it up underneath and tipped away and controlled by Quincy Jackson. Jackson on the left wing. McKenzie getting it to King. Now back to McKenzie. He has his shot blocked. And a shot clock violation. I believe that's the 3rd shot clock violation for SVG in this game already.
And I've got to tell you, co-partner, I'm very impressed. Coach Mitchell is down there screaming defense, defense, good D, which again is very surprising coming from an NBA coach. But he's coming, he knows defense win tournaments, defense wins games, and he got his guys playing defense right now.
Talk about the resume of Sam Mitchell. Played for a number of years in the NBA. For the Timberwolves and Pacers. And then was head coach of the Toronto Raptors from 2004 to 2008. And he won the NBA Coach of the Year award in 2007 when he led the Raptors to a first place finish in the Atlantic Division. Now the fadeaway won't go by Foyle. Now foul called. He turned around a Raptors team that had only won 27 games the previous year and turned them into a playoff team.
Now I guarantee you, if you ask Coach Mitchell how he turned that team around, and the first thing he'll tell you is defense, as he got his team playing defense.
Now Rivera for 3, that's good.
I tell you, I've watched this kid grew up from last year. He has a lot of confidence in his game. You can see the poise that he have out there on the floor.
Now another 3 by Hart, no. Rebound. Rather a foul called on King on the rebound attempt. And when you get to this level, you get to these players who are, you know, borderline NBA playing for national teams, D-League type players, European players, South America, China, you know, top level pro league players, just not in the NBA. You get a guy who can play defense, they're going to do very well. You get a whole team that plays defense, you're going to be extremely successful as a team, because so many of these guys at this level, they're interested in filling up the stat sheet so that they can get noticed and they can get a contract somewhere. So they don't really pay too much attention to defense. You get a coach who stresses and emphasizes defense, it makes the team win, and it shows the player as more diverse rather than just a scorer, and makes him more valuable to a team.
It's always good when you can get a team to buy into that team concept of playing defense. It only helps your team.
(33-8) in favor of Virgin Islands. McKenzie the lob to Foyle. Now the cross-court pass to Jackson. Now a three on the way from McKenzie. Back iron, no. Rebound taken by Aska. Now a badly missed three. And here comes SVG back the other way. 7:10 to play second quarter. Foyle's jumper won't go. And the struggles for SVG continue. Now the spin move by Reimer. And he gets fouled on the way up.
Beautiful drop step move by Kitwana Reimer. He played several years overseas. Former alumni from the University of Massachusetts. Played at UMass. I think he also played a year with Marcus Camby.
So some very high-level basketball associated with the Virgin Islands team. Free throw is good.
SVG shooting 3 for 20 from the field, and that's just not getting it done. 0 for 7 from the three-point line.
(35-8) now. So a 30-3 run since it was tied at 5. Baptiste from 30 feet, that's good. Although I don't think you can live from the 30-foot range and prosper. Now McKenzie looking for anything, gets it inside to Foyle. Help defense comes over. Now the lob to Williams, he can't go. Now Rivera ahead, and the layup missed by Aska. He wanted a foul, and now a turnover by SVG. And Naika Williams barking at the official at the far end, wanting a foul on the layup. And now
not sure what happened on that last possession, as the referee looked like he got in the way of the outlet pass.
Yeah, I was glancing down for a moment. Now Foyle talking to the far official. Timeout on the floor for Virgin Islands. Take this opportunity to remind you that we've got another game coming up at 9 o'clock tonight, or thereabouts, depending on the end of this one. That's going to feature the host nation, British Virgin Islands, at 2-0 against Barbados. They come in at 0-1. Our previous two games today, Bermuda beat Guyana 74-65. Bermuda now 1-1. Guyana 0-3. And the Bahamas beat Suriname 72-57. The Bahamas now 3-0. Suriname 0-2. Don't forget, you can like us on Facebook at Caribbean Basketball Confederation. We have finally hit the 1,000 like mark. Or you can follow us on Twitter. We are at Caribasket, CARIBEBASKET. You can tweet a shout out to your team or have a question for either Cal or myself, and we will do our best to answer.
There's got to be a warning for flopping.
Yeah, I don't think Rivera could quite push over McKenzie that easily. Now Rivera on the kick out, 3 on the way. That's good.
As I said, he can knock that down with consistency. Craig Williams, 6'9", post player, but he loved to shoot him from beyond the arc.
Now Baptiste draws contact on his way to the basket. No call. 38-11. Aska steps inside the three-point line, shoots, and it rattles out. Now a 3 on the way from Foyle. That's short. And then the dunk put back by Naika Williams.
There go Williams again for another 3. At 6'9", he's probably one of the better shooters on this team from beyond the arc.
Now an air ball by Foyle from 3. And it remains 38-13. Now Khalid Hart comes on for Virgin Islands. He replaces LaRon Smith. Also, Cuthbert Victor comes back on. Rivera travels as he's bodied by Naika Williams. And Samuel Mitchell says, "Where's the call there?" Now the lob inside to Akeem Smart. He couldn't hit the short jump hook. 38-13 Virgin Islands. Oh, Khalid Hart just kind of runs at the basket and flips that one up. Now Baptiste driving, kicks it out. 3 on the way. That's good. Alexis Foyle finally hits from 3. 40-16. Rivera at the other end. That looked like that was going to go down. Baptiste, the rebound. He attacks, fades, and hits. Tough shot by Baptiste.
Tough shot as he was able to avoid the contact from Rivera. Went off the glass for 2.
So Virgin Islands, or beg your pardon, SVG finally finding a little offense. Now Williams, another 3. That's no good. Off the basket support and out of bounds. It'll be SVG ball with 2:58 to play in the half. Now Smart kicks it out to Foyle. Another 3, no. Smart fighting for the ball, gets it back. Can't finish from in close. Now here comes Rivera back the other way. Khalid Hart for 3, no. Rebound taken by Naika Williams.
Virgin Islands putting up a lot of 3s the last couple possessions. kind of getting away from what got them this lead as far as moving the basketball.
Now Baptiste for three. Bricks that one left side. Khalid Hart on the attack, gives it up to Aska. Did not have control of it. Otherwise, he was going to go up and possibly rip the basket support out of the ceiling with a dunk. He regroups, goes up and lays it in and draws the foul. And he will go to the free throw line for the and one. The foul for SVG was on Sean Baptiste, his first.
Kind of saw that technical foul coming as Foyle was in the air of the referee. He said, okay, he got it, but Foyle continued to jaw at the referee, picking up the technical foul. And they cannot afford to lose him in this game as he's their leading scorer.
The technical free throw now is good by Aska.
So Oscar hits the two, hits the technical foul and the bonus shot.
So a 44-18 lead, and now an offensive foul called against Victor. Exactly 2 minutes to play in the second quarter. Virgin Islands up 44-18.
This one has been all Virgin Islands from the first quarter. FBG haven't had a lot to go on.
Baptiste from long range again won't go. Smart tapped the rebound, but it went out of bounds. It'll be Virgin Islands ball. Shepard to Williams. Now back to Rivera on the weave. Shepard. Almost too far for Rivera. 8 to shoot now. Williams along 2. Rebound underneath. Shepard. Scoop reverse won't go. A rebound grab by McKenzie. Minute 23 to play. Ahead to Williams. And a block called against Cuthbert Victor. Didn't quite see where his feet were. Suffice it to say, Sam Mitchell didn't like the call.
He's saying, I don't care if we're up by 30. That wasn't a block, that was a charge.
Williams misses the first free throw. And Justin Scott for SVG wants timeout. Williams misses both free throws. And it remains 44-18. Khalid Hart. Boy, and the brain got in the way for Victor there. He double clutched on the three-point attempt a couple of times. Gave it up underneath. His team scored anyway, so it's 46-18. And SVG granted the timeout. We're back in a minute from Road Town. 48-16 with 1:08 to play here at the Multipurpose Sports Complex in Roadtown on Tortola. And ever since it was 5-5, it's been all Virgin Islands. Rivera to Shepard. Back to Khalid Hart around the screen. Frees him up for the three. That's no good. Nice offensive play and a good look. Now Shepard. Here comes the screen again. Shepard driving over Baptiste, and Baptiste going to get called for the foul.
Shepard, the veteran player, driving to the basket, creating a contact, was able to get the foul.
Second foul on Baptiste. Shepard hits the free throw.
What makes this Virgin Island team so tough, if they have multiple players that can play multiple positions. Craig Williams, who's the center on this team, is probably one of the best three-point shooters. You also have Cuthbert Victor, who plays down low, who can also shoot it from the outside. So it creates defensive nightmares for the opposing team.
Well, there's no true big man in this tournament like Craig Williams that can shoot from outside like that. Now with 6.9 left, Khalid Hart can't get the shot to fall. He draws the foul on Quincy Jackson. (50-18). 6.9 to play. We have not seen a team hit the 100-point mark in this tournament yet. And now Shepard called for the foul with 2.7 seconds left as McKenzie went up for the three-point attempt. Did they signal it was a three? Oh, they're saying that wasn't even a shooting foul. Wow. So now Baptiste hits the three. And the score at the end of the first half is Virgin Islands 50, St. Vincent and the Grenadines 21. Virgin Islands outscoring SVG 30-7 in the first quarter, 20-14 in the second quarter. At one point, it was a 30-3 run over the first and second quarters for the Virgin Islands. Let's take a look at some of the statistics in this one. Craig Williams has 14 points already. Khalid Hart also with 14. Cuthbert Victor has 8 rebounds for Virgin Islands. Shepard has 8. For SVG, their leading scorer is Sean Baptiste, he's got 8. Naika Williams has 7. The leading rebounder, Alexis Foyle, with 6. Earlier on today, it was Bermuda defeating Guyana 74-65 in preliminary round action. Bermuda raises its record to 1-1. Guyana falls to 0-3. Suriname fell to the Bahamas in our second game of the day, 72-57. Suriname now 0-2. Bahamas 3-0. And then coming up at 9 o'clock, it's Barbados taking on the host nation, British Virgin Islands. Barbados coming in at 0-1, BVI at 2-0. Right now it's 50-21 in favor of the Virgin Islands. We're back in a little bit here from Tortola. I'm Craig Fada, he's Cal White. We'll see you for the start of the second half.
nightcap. Are we live?
Welcome back to the 2015 Caribbean Basketball Confederation Championships. The men's version in Roadtown on Tortola of the British Virgin Islands. Third game of the night. Game 11 in preliminary round play. The Virgin Islands leading St. Vincent and the Grenadines 50-21. I'm Craig Fada alongside Cal White, former Virgin Islands men's national team standout, former teammate of a number of guys still on the team. Cal, you've got to be pleased to see that your team's rolling, but if you're going to play coach for a moment, what does SVG have to do to get back into this one?
Well, they're going to have to cut down on some of those turnovers, as they had 9 turnovers in the first half. And they got to shoot better from the field. They shot 8 for 36 from the field, 3 for 15 from beyond the arc. If they're going to get back in this game, they're going to have to start knocking down some jump shots.
Once again, earlier on today, it was Bermuda over Guyana, 74-65. Bahamas beat Suriname, 72-57. And then at 9 o'clock, it'll be BVI and Barbados. You can follow all the tournament action on the official tournament website, Tortola2015.com, for game recaps, scores, schedules, and statistics. You can also join the conversation on Facebook at Caribbean Basketball Confederation, or you can follow us on Twitter at Carib Basket, CARIBE-BASKET, as the lob to Foyle, a little too high from Baptiste. You can tweet at us during the game. Maybe we'll read your tweet on the air if you've got a shout out for your team or a particular player that you want to say that you're a fan of, or if you've got a question for Cal or myself, we'll do our best to answer it. Now, Asco with the left hand won't go. And I know I'm not going to pronounce this name quite correctly, but Valeska Quensas has a shout out for the Virgin Islands team, especially Angel Rivera. Finally up over 1,000 likes on Facebook. And now a travel by Cuthbert Victor.
But Victor trying to spin to the baseline as he took too many steps before he put the ball down on the floor.
The Virgin Islands foul called on Victor. That's his third. Now a foul on Khalid Hart. So Naika Williams to the free throw line. Coming into this game for the tournament, a 60% free throw shooter.
Alexis Foyle, first cousin of Donald Foyle, telling his team, let's go. Let's try to get back in this game.
Williams hits them both. And it's 50-25. Victor to Hart. Back to Victor, now inside. 5 to shoot. And a goaltend as Aska soared to the basket. Shot swatted out of there on the way down.
Oscar, very explosive players. He took one dribble going to the basket. SVG got called for the goaltending as the ball was on the way back down.
Now a nice pass to Baptiste, but he's bottled up on the baseline. He's got to get it back out. Now Foyle from the free throw line. Misses. SVG able to get a shot finally off again, but not a real good look. And now attacking is Aska. It won't go. Now the kick out, 3 on the way. Rebound inside King. He goes back up strong and lays it in. Now a 3 on the way from Williams. Yes.
And I keep telling you, that's one big fella. You can't get back in the lane with him because he loves to shoot the 3.
Now an official's timeout. As they get some moisture wiped off the court. I don't know, would you call Craig Williams a stretch 4? I mean, not quite sure what to call him.
He's about 6'9", silky smooth, big smooth is what they call him. Got a pretty stroke from beyond the arc. Not your typical big man who wants to go down in the post and hang. But you better get a hand up outside when he gets it locked and loaded. Because hand down, man down.
Baptiste gets it into King. He's picked up by Williams. And now Foyle with the jumper in the lane. Williams for 3 again. Baptiste calling the play, hounded by Rivera. Around the screen by Foyle, gets it to Foyle. He puts up the 3, no. Now a pretty drive by Aska wouldn't go. Baptiste has his pocket picked and now a foul called on Victor. I think that's going to be his 4th.
See, I think they called it sideline out of bounds as he stepped on the sideline.
Oh, I thought I saw the arm go up like it was a foul. And Naika Williams, I guess they called that a jump stop, but at the other end, my goodness, Aska goes up uncontested and rams it home. 57-29. Now a nice feed underneath and a good finish by Damian Otley. Rivera getting the offense set up around the screen by Victor. Now a kick into the corner, 3 on the way, yes. That's Khalid Hart from downtown again. Now the nice right-hand floater in the lane by King. Rivera spinning around Baptiste, leaving it underneath. He was trying to hit Aska cutting along the baseline toward the bucket, but the ball went out of bounds, and that'll go to SVG. Foyle working on Victor. Now the pass popped out of there by Craig Williams, and Virgin Islands back the other way. Rivera. Now Aska. They count the basket.
And it just seems that even when SVG gets a deflection or gets a hand on the ball just falls right in the Virgin Island hand.
Rivera gets called for the foul. I beg your pardon, it was Nika Williams for the foul. Aska will go to the free throw line. 62-33. .455 to play, third quarter. 30-point lead.
Virgin Islands on cruise control right now.
Wow, and Baptiste hits. That was another 30-footer. Hart to Williams. To Aska, the hook gets wedged between the backboard and the cylinder.
And even on the jump ball, as the ball stuck between the backboard and the rim, it goes back to the Virgin Islands. This SVG team can't catch a break.
Yeah. I think that's what SVG was saying. It's got to be our ball. But yeah, that creates a jump ball situation. And now they're trying to get the shot clock reset. I believe that's what they're talking about. The officials were trying to signal that it was 11 left on the shot clock, but the table said no, it goes to 14. Now Cuthbert, the quick move. He's got to kick it out to Williams. 3 on the way. Yes!
How do you defend that? The big fella's trying to help inside, but he can't because the guy that he's guarding is probably the best three-point shooter on the floor.
And no big man is going to be fast enough to dig from that position and then recover.
Williams is going to create matchup nightmares for opposing teams. Most teams want their big man to lock back in the paint, kind of sag back. But guarding this Virgin Islands team, you can't do that.
Now the pass stolen away nicely. And then going coast to coast is Nika Williams. Three by Victor is no good, and here comes SVG back the other way. Baptiste, guarded by Hart. Now over to Foyle. Foyle drives, and the foul called. I believe they're going to get Aska. That is on Aska. That's the third on him. Non-shooting foul. Third team foul for Virgin Islands in the quarter. Stevan Taylor kicks it out to Baptiste. His three is blocked. And Virgin Islands running. 2-on-1. Khalid Hart goes up and lays it in over the outstretched arm of Williams.
Textbook fast break as the ball never touched the floor, as 4 players got the ball out for the easy deuce.
Now a 3 by Foyle won't go, and Virgin Islands running again. Shepard gets to the right wing. Now finds a cutting Victor, and Victor goes up with a 2-hand dunk. 70-38. SVG got off to a pretty decent start in this third quarter. Now all of a sudden, they find themselves down 32. Nika Williams with a strong move in the paint, goes up with the right hand, and with the short hook, gets it in. The foul for Virgin Islands, Craig Williams Jr. He's going to have a seat, replaced by Katwana Reimer. (70-40) as Williams goes to the free throw line.
Safe to say that this team from the Virgin Islands is on cruise control right now.
Free throw
They
short.
might have pushed the autopilot button.
Despite the veterans, Kevin Shepard, Cuthbert Victor, and Katwana Reimer, the Virgin Islands, pretty young team, averaging only 25.3 years old. SVG, on the other hand, averaging 29.6 years old. They've got 4 players over 30. Kevin Shepard goes to the floor as he tries for the layup. Foul is going to be on Akeem Smart. Minute 45 to play, third quarter. Glad you can be with us wherever you're tuned in from, across the Caribbean or around the world. This is the men's 2015 Caribbean Basketball Confederation Championships. The Bahamas upset Jamaica last week in the women's tournament, coming back from 15 points down in the second half. What an exciting game that was. And I have no doubt that we're going to see some excitement like that as this tournament wears on toward the weekend.
That Victor to Shepard combo has been a stay on this Virgin Islands team for the last 10, 15 years, as those two are used to playing with each other.
Now Valeska Quinces on Facebook says, thanks for the announcement. Angel Rivera is my son. Her original post was in Spanish, and I don't speak or read Spanish. I gleaned as much as I could from it. So her next post was in English. And she wants to send some love for her son, Angel Rivera, and the rest of the Virgin Island team. Now a nice pass inside to Reimer, but it gets blocked. Now a feed underneath. Beautiful ball movement. Boy, SVG just cannot buy a bucket. Now Baptiste from the left elbow. That won't go. The putback, finally, a ball goes in for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Akeem Smart. Persistence finally paying off for SVG. The foul called on Reimer, his second. And Smart will go to the free throw line to try to complete the three-point play.
Don't forget, coming up after this game, it's the homeboys, the BVI, facing pretty decent Barbados team. Little bird whispered in my ear earlier that the 7-footer for the BVI is no longer on the island as he went back to Puerto Rico. I don't know how true that is, but that changes a lot of things for the BVI if he's no longer here.
Now McKenzie decked as he goes up for the jump shot. Helped up by one of his teammates and by Aska. The foul called on Giorgio Milligan. Trying to figure out why Smart was at the free throw line. I thought it was McKenzie that got decked. At any rate, Smart airballs the first free throw and then hits the second. 71-43 with 38 seconds to play, third quarter. Milligan getting by McKenzie, going coast to coast. He gets swatted out of the air. Now the pass from McKenzie. He gets it knocked out of his hand by Rivera. And now a timeout called by Justin Scott. With 24.3 seconds to play in the third, it's a 71-43 lead for the Virgin Islands. We're back in a minute from the Multipurpose Sports Complex in Roadtown. .3 seconds to play in the third quarter. It's the Virgin Islands 71, St. Vincent and the Grenadines 43. Craig Williams Jr., you see, leading the Virgin Islands there, 20 points. Naika Williams leading SVG with 13. Jackson gets it inside to Smart. He's bottled up, but draws the foul. I think that's going to be on Reimer. No, they're going to say it is on Angel Rivera. So Smart back to the free throw line.
And people at home are probably watching this game and asking, why does Coach Mitchell have so many starters in the game? Again, in FIBA basketball, in case of a tie, a lot of these games come down to the point differential. So a lot of these coaches don't let their foot off the gas too often. Regular basketball game, with up 30 points, you would have seen the bench in the game a long time ago.
Rivera holding for one. 7 on the game clock. Shot clock is off. Rivera dribbles it off his foot. And SVG will not get a shot off before time expires in the third. So at the end of 3 quarters, it is Virgin Islands 71, St. Vincent and the Grenadines 44. We are back in 2 minutes from Road Town. Welcome back to the Multi-Purpose Sports Complex in Road Town on Tortola of the British Virgin Islands. Craig Feda, Calvert White, former standout of the Virgin Islands men's team, seeing some of his former teammates and some new guys really dominating SVG tonight in this preliminary round game. Leading the way for Virgin Islands, Craig Williams with 20 points. Khalid Hart with 19, Ivan Aska with 14. Cuthbert Victor has 10 rebounds. For St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Naika Williams 13, Sean Baptiste with 11. Leading rebounder Alexis Foyle with 7. He also has 9 points. And despite the size advantage by Craig Williams, SVG leads points in the paint. 24, now 26 to 22 as McKenzie scores.
I got to give Ronnie Richards, the president of this Virgin Islands Basketball Team Federation, along with the coaching staff, kudos for getting this team in training camp and getting them to play together. Spoke to the SVG coach before the game. He said his team only had one complete practice before they came to this tournament. With all these players playing overseas and in college, it's hard to get a team like this together and be cohesive before a tournament like this.
Aska, boy, how did that find its way in? Kind of bricked off the back iron, then just sat there for a second and then fell in.
Five years ago, Shepard would have run that down easy.
And I'm sure you'll tell him that after the game, too.
At 35 years old, he needs to come take a seat next to me. Not trying to get rid of you, partner. Shepard with. Father Time catches up with all of us.
That's the beautiful thing about this job. Father Time really doesn't have a whole lot to say. "30 years from now, we may be doing the 2045 Caribbean Basketball Confederation Tournament. No doubt we'll both still be dashingly handsome." free throw good by Otley. 73-49. Your Coach Mitchell yelling for Horns special at the other end. That's Horns usually the double high screen. Not sure what the special part of it is. I don't know if you want to give away that extra little detail there.
It's funny because he said horn special, and some of the guys was looking at him like, I don't think we learned that one, Coach.
Horns flex. Well, that makes a lot more sense. 75-49. What do you do when that happens? You're not hearing the coach, or you can't see the hand signal quite right, and you just run something.
That's the job of the point guard. If the point guard doesn't catch the play, hopefully somebody on the floor caught it.
Back to a 30-point lead at 79-49.
I've got to tell you, I'm very impressed by this Virgin Islands team, and I'm not being biased. You know, knowing that you only have a week of practice, to hear a coach already call about 4 or 5 different plays with a week's practice is very impressive.
81-51. And each of the teams that we've seen, that we've kind of called one of the top teams here, they all have different strengths, different styles. When you talk about Antigua and Barbuda, you talk about BVI, you talk about Virgin Islands, and you talk about Bahamas. They all get it done different ways.
That's why I love this game of basketball, because each team, say on any given night, you never know what the team is going to bring. Gotta say, I didn't expect the game to be this lopsided. I thought the SVG team was going to put up a fight. But this Virgin Islands team definitely looking strong. And as I said, they was one of my top 4 teams, along with Bahamas, Antigua, and the BVI, to move on into the medal round.
Milligan misses the first free throw.
Despite being from the Virgin Islands, I've got to say that Antigua is still my favorite team right now. They're still looking the strongest of all the 4 teams.
I think I would agree. They're so athletic and so long that I think they can get defenders out on Craig Williams and still be able to defend elsewhere inside. And they crash the boards like nobody else in this tournament. Virgin Islands, though, with a couple of very good outside shooters that I think may give them an advantage over some of the other teams. You talk, of course, about Craig Williams, but Khalid Hart is a very good outside shooter, and Angel Rivera, not too bad from the outside as well.
And that's why I got to give Antigua the edge, because they too have good shooters on the team. I haven't really seen a dominant inside presence by this Virgin Islands team as yet, but definitely Antigua has it going both inside and outside.
If you disagree with us, take to Twitter. You tweet at us, at Carib Basket, say, we're full of beans. Wouldn't be the first time somebody's told me that. If you think one of the other teams perhaps has a better shot than Antigua and Barbuda, state your case. Maybe we'll read your tweet on the air. Hart to Milligan. Milligan kicks it out. Now Williams has it. Victor. Ball movement. Beautiful by us. By Virgin Islands. And then they get a close in look and get it blocked.
And I've got people listening to the game, hitting me up on WhatsApp, talking about the 2045 games, talking about I'm going to be in the gym with a cane.
But again, as a broadcaster, you can have a cane. That's fine. Got no problem with that. What are your thoughts on the NBA Finals? Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors taking down the Cleveland LeBrons. And I don't say that disparagingly. There were some injuries. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, he was without his full complement of players, but he put up an historic performance in the NBA Finals. Do you think if LeBron had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, if he had one of those two, if the series would have been closer or perhaps even gone the other way, given as dominant as LeBron was?
LeBron definitely tried his best Superman impersonation as he tried to do it all himself. Definitely the greatest player on the planet right now, just didn't have enough to do it by himself.
And Baptiste between a pair of defenders for the three.
And now we see the bench for the Virgin Islands team as Angel Rivera, the lone starter on the floor right now for Coach Mitchell's team.
Johnny Gray says, proud of my Virgin Islands team taking care of business and can't wait to get back next year.
And if you think some of these players can shoot it, Gray can fill it up with the best of them. Instant offense off the bench as he loved to shoot the ball from beyond the three-point line. If I'm not
Brings to mind
mistaken,
the old Vinnie Johnson nickname, the microwave.
if I'm not mistaken, I think Gray came into training camp with a bum ankle, tried to see what the trainers could do, and just wasn't going to be ready for this tournament. So they definitely will be waiting for him next year.
.82.55 after the free throw by Naika Williams. Now I think Virgin Islands finally content to run a little clock. And now a three from the corner by Milligan. Baptiste for three. Air ball that might have gotten tipped by Milligan. Goes out of bounds. It'll be SVG ball with 11 to shoot. Now a three by Foyle. No. Rebound Smith. King the rebound off of the miss on the three-point attempt.
LeRon Smith, who just got that rebound, is actually the twin brother of Leron Smith, who shot the three. Leron had a good tournament last year. He was enforcer inside the Virgin Islands team. Not playing a lot of minutes this year. As the VI racked up on some bigger, stronger players.
Seen a lot of brother combinations on these national teams. A lot of sister combinations on the women's teams. Three ball no good by Milligan. Baptiste catches the long outlet. He goes up over two defenders, gets it blocked, but there for the putback is Foyle. (85-57). Now the jump hook well short. And a foul called against Virgin Islands, number 10, Leron Smith. Now the French speaker in me would pronounce both of those just about identically. Leron and Leron.
I think it's Leron and Leron.
Both free throws good by King. Inside of 2.5 minutes to play. And the shot blocked by Naika Williams. He's having himself a pretty nice game. Three on the way from Baptiste, and he hits again. Elon Howard freight trains his way into the lane. Justin Scott wanted an offensive foul. Now the pull-up by Baptiste. That circles out there for the dunk putback. But it won't go, and that's the kind of night that SVG is having. (87-62), a 25-point lead for the Virgin Islands with 1:38 to play. We're back after this from Rotown. Minute 38 to play in this one. SVG trailing by 25. Baptiste and Naika Williams doing everything they can. Williams with 14, Baptiste with 19. Foyle into double digits now with 11. And now the scoop with the left hand won't go. Two players with 20 or better for the Virgin Islands. Khalid Hart with 21. Craig Williams Jr. with 20. Cuthbert Victor with 12 rebounds to lead Virgin Islands. Lob lob won't go. Here comes SVG back the other way. Shot blocked by LaRon Smith. Now Rivera throws the oop up to Smith. And it's 89-62. Always got to feed the big men when you can. Now Baptiste with the layup, won't go. Rivera kicks it out, jumper won't go. Now Smith from in close, and the ball gets tipped over the backboard into the stands. That'll be SVG ball. 35.2 to play. Boy, what an interesting tournament this is going to shape up to be. Talk about the 4 contenders we think will head to the medal round. And they each just do it a little differently. It's going to be very fun to see how this draw shakes out. And now Naika Williams slams Rivera to the floor. I don't think he meant to do it. I think he was trying to grab him for the foul, and his feet got tied up, and he immediately came over and was apologetic. I really don't think he meant anything by.
And I've seen Naika Williams play this tournament, and he's not that kind of player.
No.
He's usually the first to run and pick somebody off the floor.
And he does get called for the unsportsmanlike, and that's the right call to make. But he was not trying to spike Rivera off the floor. Might have looked differently on television, but it only happened about 15 feet in front of us, and I don't think there was any intent there by Naika Williams, and it ended up being far worse than it looked. Crowd still buzzing a little bit after that. So it's 93-62. And that's going to be the final score. So Virgin Islands moves to 2-0. SVG falls to 1-2. We take a look at the final statistics here once we wait for the numbers to refresh on the FIBA Live Stats website. Well, we know that Rivera had one more point, so we'll go ahead and read off the stats. Sean Baptiste with 19 on 7 of 18 shooting for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Naika Williams with 14.7 rebounds. Alexis Foyle, 11 points, 8 boards. For the Virgin Islands, Khalid Hart with 21 on 8 of 13 shooting. Aska finished with 16. Craig Williams Jr., 20 points on 7 of 14 shooting. Cuthbert Victor had 4 points and 12 rebounds. Angel Rivera had 10 points as the Virgin Islands moves to 2-0. Coming up in about 23 minutes, it will be Barbados and the British Virgin Islands right about 9 o'clock. Here in Road Town, we invite you to come back and watch the nightcap. It's going to be a fun environment as it's going to be a strong Barbados team taking on one of the tournament, we'll call them favorites, BVI, the host nation. And we'll see how Game 4 of the night shakes out. For my partner, Cal White, I'm Craig Fada saying so long for now. We'll see you in about 20 minutes.